Hello and welcome to Introduction to Epistemology. Today we are going to discuss about naturalistic account of the concept of knowledge, and we start with the important instruments that is helpful for getting the information or getting the knowledge. For example, we all use thermometer in our daily life, and we know that thermometer is used for giving you temperature of your body. So actually when we talk about the truth and registering the truth, and thermometer register or thermometer is actually the source of knowledge that is giving you a registered truth. So what is meant by registered truth? It means that that truth is several time calibrated, several time measured with the instrument. So when we talk about the thermometer, the important thing is that we are talking about equipments or we are talking about instrument. And in the next slide I mentioned is that what is epistemic equipments. So actually epistemic equipments are the knowledge that conceive in a successful functioning of the equipment, like the thermometer that is used for measuring temperature, and that consists of finely tuned perceptual, memorial, introspective and rational instruments. And actually for example, there are several instruments that is used in the world, like for example if you want to measure the how much rainfall occur in your region, like rainfall in millimeters, or you want to measure the not only the temperature of the body but the climate measurement, or maybe if for example you want to measure the weight of something, weight of food. These all are registered truth, because the information or the knowledge that we are getting is truth. We cannot say that this information is false, otherwise the world will not be running in that way. So this all working is because of the equipment that is used, and that is called as epistemic equipment, that actually consists of all information of perceptual. Because for example, if the temperature of your body is hot, so you feel hot, and then you say that and then you check the temperature, maybe your temperature is more than 38.6. so your perception combined with equipment telling you the truth that you are in the fever. Or then obviously memorial, which is actually the stored memory in your mind about different things, like feeling the cold or hot, and you have stored this in your mind that okay, at 36.8 above you have fever. Or introspective, which is about you, what you feel. And then the rational instrument, which is develop and design from all the information, from all the knowledge, and then that helpful for measuring the thing, or the helpful that measuring the truth, that is useful in our daily life, in clinical diagnostics, or in predictions, or in climate changes, or in our daily life to measure the weight in kilograms or in grams, or used in scientific communities to measure the thing. So that is all epistemic equipments, because otherwise if these equipments are not there, then the world will not continue, and then it becomes tough. So obviously scientists have worked on different equipments, but there is a story behind that, how they are developed. And this is another story which maybe I will discuss in another class. And there is a story behind development of these equipments, and how they are developed, and how they are validated. That is more like a scientific, but I am not interested to discuss in this topic, as this slides lecture is already quite lengthy. So when we talk about next slide, we are talking about two type of knowledge. One is propositional knowledge, and the other one is non-propositional knowledge. When we talk about propositional knowledge, it involves, and I have highlighted, is a declarative sentence. Here they are indicative proposition which uses some phrases like knows that, knows when, and knows whether. In this case, like the teachers know whether the answer is correct is an example of propositional knowledge. Whereas when we talk about non-propositional knowledge, non-propositional is without indicated propositions and include acquaintance knowledge and procedural knowledge, which is knowing of or knowing how. For example, the toddler know how to walk is an example of non-propositional knowledge, because toddler lack relevant propositional knowledge and conscious understanding of the various steps. So in simple word, when we talk about how to differentiate between propositional knowledge and non-propositional knowledge, propositional knowledge is actually, in simple word, is final declaration of anything or anything that is indicating that this thing is correct. We know the thing, this is correct, or maybe it could be false. So that's a declaration. That's why we use the word declaration, which that we know the thing, we know when that thing happened, and we know whether that thing is right or wrong. Whereas when we talk about non-propositional, it is actually non-indicative, opposite to propositional knowledge, and then obviously it is not declarative. It is acquittance, which is actually that a procedure of the knowledge. For example, the baby start walking after a couple of months. So how this happen? So what has happening actually, that when we talk about non-propositional knowledge, it occur with the passage of time, and sometimes it occur with experience. So because in this case, the person that will get the knowledge with the time. So when we talk about the observational concepts, I have highlighted one paragraph from the book. So we will also discuss in naturalistic accounts about the observation of the things, like for example, when you see the apple, and you see the apple, you know the apple are either of red in color or the apple is green color. So green apple and red apple, everybody knows that. Or for example, the shape of the objects, like for example the rectangle, why we call it as rectangle, or why we call it as a square or a circle. We already discussed one example in previous lectures, that when we talk about observation concepts, we are talking about either the color of the thing, or the shape of the thing, or the height of the thing, like for example how much the tall your friend is, or how much weight you have, or then numbers and motions, like number 1, 2, 3, 4, and the motions, as whether the car is moving at which speed. So these all are discussed in the observations, and these are informations is actually useful for giving a description of something, and they are also used for description of physical, chemical, and biological and psychological properties. So when we talk about chemistry, we're talking about periodic table. So when we talk about periodic table, we are talking about the elements, and if you remember in your school, the elements like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, we're talking, obviously they are talking about physical properties and their chemical properties. Or when we're discussing about observation, we are talking about the biological properties of something, like for example when we talk about medicine or drug, the drug is used for treating some diseases. So you know, these are all observation. For example, that scientist did some research on animals or on human, and after then we do some randomized clinical trials. Again, this is a technical thing we will discuss now, not in detail but later on. So these are all come under observational studies. Or the psychological properties, like to measure depression, anxiety and stress, we use some instruments to measure it. So these all come under the observation concept. So actually, what are the approaches that naturalistic use in the research or in their daily observation? Is their first approach is like role of casuation, which is in producing the knowledge which with the help of the perceptual belief caused by the perceptual object. And the second approach is more on reliability of the knowledge through a series or through a process through which the knowledge arises. So we can see that the first is a causal role, and then the second thing is the reliability of the knowledge. So let's discuss one by one. When we talk about causal source, we are more talking about the causal theory, and I mentioned in my next slide that one on the causal theory, and I mentioned that on the causal theory, knowledge is a true belief cause something which is connected that makes plausible to call it the belief knowledge. So the important thing is that when we talk about causal, we are linking the knowledge is actually as appropriately caused through belief. And when we talk about causal theory, we need to understand what is causal theory, and I mentioned in my next slide to explain this thing. Like for example, if S knows that P, if P is true, S believes that P, then what will be happen? Then S believes that P is appropriately causally related to the fact that P. If John went to the market last week, Roger believed that okay, John had went to the market last week, and then Roger believed that John went to the market, but it is casually related to the fact that he went to the market last week. So that is known as causal theory, but we will discuss it. Another example, I put some more examples to understand. For example, I put an example like if there is a cup in the table, so how can we know that there is a cup on the table? So the thing is that the light actually, in the scientific way, we know that the light actually strike to that cup, reflect back, and then goes to your eyes. Your eyes contain a lot of nerves, optic nerves. We discussed in our biology, we studied in the biology, and these optic nerves sense the object with the help of obviously our senses and organ use. Eye is our organ, and then senses we use, and then at the end we casually said that okay, S believes that there is a cup on the table. So this is a process to explain or to justify the causal theory. Like I put in the next slide, like penguins are black and white. I'm talking in sarcastic way that some old TV shows are also black and white, therefore some penguins are old TV shows. So but again, this logic is not good for penguins, because we cannot generalize this statement or generalize the causal theory everywhere. If we see in this cartoon, so these logics sometimes doesn't work if we say that penguins are black and white and old TV shows, because there is no connection between black and white TV shows and the penguins colors. So the logic does not work over there. So when we talk about actually the causal theory, there are four things that is important. One is perception, second is memory, third is inference, and fourth is testimonies. We already used these four words before in our previous lectures. You can go back and see them. But another example to explain the causal theory is, for example, the relationship of the temperature and then car start, and then between them there is a distributor cap. Like I mentioned here, like for example, cold temperature can cause the distributor cap to become cracked. For example, if someone is living in the cold climate, Malaysia is very hot climate, or we can say that Malaysia has the moderate climate with tropical rainfall, maybe you may not understand this theory. But if maybe someone is living in cold region like in Canada, or maybe in cold part of the world, like right now if someone is Russia or in Central Asia, the temperature was freezing cold. So what happened that the cold temperature can cause a distributor cap, which is very important to help the car to ignite. The distributor cap is responsible for ignition of the car to get started. But what happened that if the distributor cap is cracked, then the car will less likely to start. So that is explained in terms of causal theory, that if the temperature is cold, then the car will not start. So maybe someone can believe on that causal theory that okay, the car is not going to start because the temperature is cold, and then it caused the distributor cap to get cracked. So that is explained casually, and I have taken this example from Stanford University 1997 professor Jack Breeze and Daphne Kohler. So but the problem again with the causal theory that we cannot confirm, we cannot say, or we cannot be affirmative with that information. Like internalistic theory of knowledge, they ask that how do you know this thing. For example, when I talk with previous example that the car is not going to start because of the cold climate, and that result in affecting the distributor cap, that is very casually we are talking about. We have no reliability of that knowledge, and the knowledge does not come with the series of knowledge. And we will discuss in next slide about how can the other theory of naturalistic account, that whether how the researchers are more believed to have the consecutive and a series of knowledge rather than we are talking casually, because we are not sure. Maybe the car is not working not because of the cold weather, maybe the car is not running because maybe some technical other issues, maybe the engine have some problem, maybe there is no petrol or there is no oil. So we cannot confirm that. So that's why the internalistic theory of knowledge can say that how do you know that. So the causal theory best apply to the empirical knowledge, and I mentioned in inverted commas that knowledge gained using primary senses like seeing, tasting, feeling, hearing, or smelling something or some instruments, they are used to helpful to aid our senses. So for example, if you smell something, if you eating some food or fruits, you smell it and you said okay, this is banana. Or for example, if you smell something, you're going from somewhere to the market, you smell the fragrance of strawberry. So maybe you go by and you say okay, maybe, but you cannot see what is near to you, but you feel okay, there is smell of strawberry, so maybe there are strawberries over there. But what actually going on, you don't know, because in fact the truth is that maybe someone is making a strawberry shake. So the point is that a knowledge that is gained casually through senses like tasting, feeling, hearing, smelling, they are sometimes with instruments which is helpful for getting the knowledge, but we cannot confirm that how we can know this thing. When we talk about externalistic theory of knowledge, actually they talking that we don't need to have we don't need actually any justification, and they are talking about we can replace the justification with a reason to explain any concept. Externalists replace justifications giving reasons with reliable casuations. And why make happen that you believe that this is for example, I mentioned that if for example you're going nearby to market and you smell a fragrance of strawberry, how can you justify that this fragrance is like of strawberry, or whether they're real strawberry? Because then you can justify that okay, yeah, there is a market, this is a vegetable market, or this is a night market, this is not a restaurant, because usually the strawberry shakes will be made in the restaurant. So you can justify with the reasons. So there is actually the difference of two concepts. One is internalism and then second is externalism, which is we will discuss maybe later on. So I'm not going to explain in detail. So when we talk about knowledge as a reliable ground, true belief, this is again we already discussed in our previous that knowledge is casual or casuation, true belief, but knowledge is also a reliable ground, true beliefs, which is other philosophers are talking about. So I put one example, you can read it, like suppose Tom tells me on the basis of knowing it that Jim is angry, and result of his testimony I believe that he is angry, Jim is angry, and then my belief is justified because you believe from the information from the Tom, and then that happened, that then we call it justified and then true. But what happened that if for example you don't believe on Tom information, and we know that Tom is unreliable because he lie a lot many times. So then will you rely? Then obviously the information that he gave you about Jim angry maybe is false, and then you don't believe on that information. We will discuss this delay in testimonies in detail later on, but you have to understand that knowledge is always a reliable, grounded, true belief, and we need to understand this in detail in maybe later on lectures. So thank you so much for today's lecture, and hope to see you again.